Hey guys, how you doing? No, hold on, 1 second. Ooh, hey, glare. Okay. Uh, hey, how y'all guys doing? I'm back with another video. I want to do like a recap of everything that I have said within the past couple of months since I started making these videos. Because I noticed that a lot, like at least about maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 of my videos was somewhat inaudible. A little bit, you can still hear me, but it was very low. So I don't want to disappoint my fans in looking at my videos and they can't hear anything. So I'm just gonna recap on a couple of things that I have mentioned and that I have experienced in the past couple of years of my life. And there's no real area where I need to begin because I had so many of them. But I wanted to start with. I guess I could start with my angel experiences. Okay. So to recap on that, the first angel experience that I had, that was they would do these most definitely. This was around the time when I had, I believe I had already graduated high school at that time. It was like 93, late 93, early 94, I believe. Um, and I was living in an apartment in Virginia. Um, I had came down with a case of insomnia for like a total of 2 weeks straight. No sleep, not once did I ever close my eyes. And I've heard that that could actually kill you. But hey, I'm right here, so it didn't happen. Alive and well. Thank God for that. But anyway, uh, excuse me. I like I said, I had insomnia for about 2 weeks straight. I didn't really know what to do at that point. So when I told my mom about it, she's told me to just read the 23rd Psalm. That pretty much solves all of your problems. You know. So I did, and sure enough, it did solve my problem. Because that same night when I read the 23rd Psalm in my Bible, I went to sleep. I went to sleep, and this was 2 weeks prior to when it first happened. When I first came down with it. Anyway, so with that being said, I read the 23rd Psalm, and I said my prayers that night and went to bed. But in the middle, in the midst of saying my prayers at that point, I, you know, added an extra prayer into it, saying that I never, I've always wanted to see my guardian angel. I've never seen him or her before, so I would love to see my guardian angel. Okay, I went to sleep that night, and I was awakened by a blinding light in my bedroom. Okay, like I'm here. This is my bed, and the open area right here, away from the wall was here. This is the open area in my bedroom. There was a blinding light, say about right there in this area right here, and it was just this shimmering light that just appeared out of nowhere, and it was just took up pretty much that one little space right here. I woke up and I was like, and I'm looking up and I'm seeing this light shining in my room, and I'm like, wow. I get up, and then there's this being that forms out of this light. And this being, it had long, curly black hair, it had really strong, sharp, square facial features, it had a very big smile, white teeth, and I can actually see the robe on this person, and I can see the wings too. But he was just hovering, you know, at the top of this light, this massive light, in my room. And I look up at him. He looks down at me, and he reaches out for me, grabs my hands. I grab his hands. As I'm looking at him, he smiles. I smile back, and then he just disappears in the thin air. The room was, dark again, and I was like, wow. After that, I just got back in the bed, and I just said, thank you, and went to sleep. Never had insomnia ever again since that day. This was back in like '93. It's 2014 now. So, well, 2000. I mean, 1993, 1994, something like that. But anyway, the second uh, angel experience I had was around the time when, well, if I had already graduated, that means that one I just mentioned was my second one. The first one was the graduation present that I received from my mother, which was a trip to Bermuda, right? Okay, so we had to get on a cruise in New York, but it was leaving that port in New York. So we drove all the way to New York. Well, we got a fly. I'm not completely sure if we drove or we flew. I think we drove, but anyway. So we got to New York and we went to the shipyard, the docks, to get on the cruise to go to Bermuda. We leave the dock in New York and we headed out to sea. I don't know how many days it took for us to get there, but we was out in the middle of nowhere. And when we got there, um, I just it was crazy. But when we got there, my mom was looking for someone to take us around the island and show us around. Uh, and she found somebody. It was this man, probably about my height. Uh, he was wearing all black. Black sneakers, black socks, black shorts, black T-shirt, black sunglasses, and a black baseball cap. And of course, he had black hair too. But anyway, so she walks over to him, and I guess she must have felt a good vibe in him or something. And she said, we were looking for someone to, drive us around the island and show us the sights. So she said, I'll take you around the island, no problem. I'll drive you around. And she was like, how much? He was like, $5. My mom was like, $5? Yeah, $5. That's all I need. She was like, okay, you got yourself a deal. She gives him $5, right then and there. And in her mind, she was thinking that was a big mistake because they could easily take that $5 and run and leave us there, at the first site that we went to. He's driving us around the island. He's showing us this house that Michael Jackson owned that was, off in the distance, like it was like on the water, like a little. You got the land here, the shore here, and you got the water, and you got this little area right in the center of all that water. It's like a big old house. Okay, he's showing us that, and he takes us to this. I think it was a cave, some type of cave they had over there, which is also a tourist attraction. It might have been a lava tube for all I know. I'm not sure. So we go inside, and we tour on the place, and we come out. Before we got out, my mom was like, just watch, he's going to be gone as soon as we get out there. Sure enough, she was wrong. So when we got out there, he was standing right there waiting for us. And it was the same thing. Every time we went to a tourist attraction, he was standing right there waiting for us every time. And so right after we finished with our tours, she said, you've been just so nice to us, with us not knowing you from Adam. This is our first time here. I just got to get a picture of you. So she take a picture of me and him together, and vice versa. I took a picture of my mom and him together, we all standing right next to each other. Okay, we leave Bermuda. We get back home. She takes the 24-hour photo, and all of the pictures came out, negatives and all. We get home. We looked through them because the first thing we was going to be looking for was the guy that we took a picture of because he was just so nice to us. We found 2 photos of us, but those photos didn't have him in the photo. Those were the actual photos that we took with him because we were standing there, just because there weren't too many photos that we took with just us without something being in behind us, like the scenery or something like that. But we just knew that was the photo of the picture. That was a photo of us with this guy. Okay, but like I said, he didn't show up in any photo that we took. And that was the weird part, because whenever you take a picture of a ghost, they always have like a little speck of light or like a little shimmering streak that moves across the air or whatever, and you just happen to catch it. Or you'll see somebody peeking out from behind a doorway or a wall, or or a rock, looking at you while you're taking the picture. But there was nothing there. Like, I mean, there was no ball light, no streak, no nothing. It was just nothing. It was air. Can you imagine if I'm standing there with my elbow on his shoulder and I'm just standing like this here with nothing there? That would be weird, So, but yeah, that was a very crazy experience. I could not believe it. I never forgot that to this day. I mean, people who I tell this story to, they say, "Oh, I don't believe it. You had to been smoking." Okay, first of all, I don't smoke. I don't drink. Okay, I don't smoke no weed. No one. Don't do that. Well, not anymore. Anyway, but yeah, it was crazy, but very very interesting. I mean, it was probably the best in this ever happened, because I never seen an angel before. I mean, this guy was just as solid as you and me. Okay. Plus, he was driving us around the island. Okay, he was driving, people he was driving. So I was like, okay. After all that, and realized that he was just like a regular person, and then he just disappears before we could even take the photo. I mean, he was standing there, but apparently somehow the camera just didn't pick him up. So he was solid, but not solid to the camera, which is just kind of weird still. But all I know is, all I can tell you, it happened. All right. So there's nothing anyone can ever tell me, because I'm the one that experienced it. So that's the one thing I try to tell everybody on here. If you see something and you can't explain it, it's probably what you already think it is. It's what you saw. So take that, with face value, and just go with it. Okay, you saw this, you saw that. If you saw a UFO, you saw a UFO. If you saw a ghost, you saw a ghost. Okay, just because a person don't believe you does not still mean it's not true. Okay, people who they're either gonna think you're crazy, or they're gonna say you've been smoking, you've been drinking, or you were dreaming. Nobody dreams when they're awake unless you're like just daydreaming about something, you know. But that's impossible, right? So you know that, I know that, but they obviously don't, because they never experienced it. So, like I said, don't let what they tell you mess up what you already know that you saw. Okay. All right, moving on. This is the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but this is something that happened while we was in Bermuda. Well, we was heading to Bermuda. Okay, we on the ocean, and we were actually passing by the area of the Bermuda Triangle. Okay, and I didn't realize it at first until we went down into the what do you call that? There's a term they use for the bows of the ship. Yeah, the bows of the ship. But we was in the area where we was. It was a little dance hall, and they had a little monitor up on the wall that showed you where we were presently at, and you could actually see a lit up a line, like a line that was lit up by lights, and it was showing you that was the Bermuda Triangle that we were passing by. There was a line here, and then you could see the Bermuda Triangle right there. So that was letting us know that we were just going around it. But if there's one thing I realized, just because we're going around the Bermuda Triangle does not mean that stuff is still ain't gonna happen. And it did. One thing happened, but it was a big one, a very big experience. Okay, I'm on the deck. We are having fun. You got people playing whatever, I don't know, shuffleboard or whatever. My mom was chilling, her beach chair, catching some rays and all that stuff. I mean, I'm looking out over this, the side of the ship, looking out into the ocean and just watching nothing but, sky and ocean. It was quite scary to me. I just hate big bodies of water. But anyway, all of a sudden, I happened to see this plane flying over my head. But it wasn't no ordinary plane. This was one of those double-winged Red Baron kind of planes, where it has those little circles, those little painted circles at the top with the star in the center. It kind of reminds you of Captain America's shield. It's kind of like that, right? But okay, first of all, if they do make those planes, they don't fly them anymore. They just really have them for like models or just they're just in their possession for show, right? This thing was flying over our heads. The crazy part about it was though, when it flew over my head, when it was flying over the ship, it went this way, and all of a sudden the sound just stopped. Okay, where do they do that at? Huh? Okay, I can tell you where. The Bermuda Triangle. Yes, folks, the Bermuda Triangle. Even though we weren't in the Bermuda Triangle, we were near it. So that means anything that happens in that portion of the ocean can still happen. It can still pan out. The experiences can still pan out over the Bermuda Triangle and out in all directions, apparently. Because I saw that plane, I heard it, and then when it went that way, the sound just stopped, dead, just like that. Not it dissipated in the distance, but it just stopped, like as if it went through some type of doorway and it closed, and so you couldn't hear it anymore. Very weird experience, but very memorable though. Memorable one though. Okay, on to the next one. This happened. This okay. Uh, One experience I had was I was living where I am now, but I was living in my mom's house at the time. Okay, I had a lot of experiences in that house because it was I'm not gonna say it was an unclean house. I'm not gonna say it was a clean house, but that house was riddled with ghosts. Okay, one of the experiences that I did have, I can't really remember the first one, but I do remember one big experience where I was in the bathroom handling my business. Okay, I was taking a leak. Okay, and all of a sudden, I look out of the corner of my eye and I see an arm come out from behind the doorway. It was basically, hold on, it was like this. It was coming out from behind the doorway, and the arm was like this. It was telling me to come here, and I'm like, what the? And I actually looked with my eyes. I looked to the left, and I could literally see the arm come from behind the doorway, going like this, telling me to come here. And you could see one of those turn of the century Little House on the Prairie sleeves. It was like all black. It was like black lace, and you could see these little lace ruffle edges, around the sleeve. Okay, and this was a female arm, of course. I could see the fingernail and everything. It's going like this, telling me to come in. It's doing this real slow. And I'm like, no. Okay. When stuff like this happens, like years before, and you remember that it happened, but it's not a vivid memory. It's like you saw it, but it's not clear. But it's because you get to the point where you be like, did that really happen? But I can tell you, folks, if you saw it and you just can't remember everything, even if you do remember everything, it's like it's not a clear vision in your head. That still don't mean it didn't happen. Okay, but anyway, so I see this arm going like this, and I'm like, okay, what the heck? And she's telling me, come here. I said, oh no, I was in the middle of handling my business anyway, so I couldn't just walk out there. When I finished, and I stood there for a second, I was like, oh boy, I gotta go back out there. I was like, okay. I walk out and I peek out from behind the door. There was nobody there. So I was like, oh man. So I went back in my room, you know, and just nothing happened again that night, I don't think. But every other night, every other month, there was always something that was going on. Like I would hear banging on the walls. And it wasn't me. I wasn't the one doing it. Okay. I'm hearing banging on the walls, like boom, 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 boom. And it's like it was nothing that was prominent where they were just trying to get my attention. It was just something boom. I mean, that was getting my attention, but it was like boom, boom, boom. Real fast, like three. It was like boom. Wait a couple of seconds, boom, boom. Wait a couple more seconds, boom. Just like that. So I'm hearing this. I'm like, okay, someone's banging on the walls, but there's nobody here but me. Okay, and then I would be hearing footsteps in the attic. We didn't have a floor up there. There was nothing but beams and sheetrock and insulation. So there was no way, no chance anyone could even walk up there, let alone us. So I'm like, okay. Then my mom's trying to tell me that maybe some squirrels got in the roof. Okay, how the heck did the squirrels get in the roof? We ain't got no window up there, so you can see inside. You know, it's just roof, sheetrock, and insulation and beams. That's it. There was shouldn't have been no way for a squirrel to get up there, because if it was a squirrel, or you know, the kind of small animal, you would hear the pitter patter of tiny little fingernails from their feet, right? Or you hear quick little footsteps running around the attic. You know, plus like I said, there's no floor up there, so you ain't gonna be hearing it. You're probably gonna be hearing something jumping on one beam to another. Okay, so like I said, whenever you see something or you hear something, try to know what sound is what. Okay, I've had to do that for years. I had to tone my senses in order for me to do that. I had to recognize what sound was what. Okay, so if you know that little animals make the sound of pitter patter little feet running across the floor, that is not what it is. If you didn't hear that, that's not what it is. If you hear actual footsteps from a person walking across the floor, I'm talking about heavy footsteps, you know that that is not an animal. Now I know it ain't no dog or no bobcat or nothing like that. Come on now. But anyway, like I said, I was hearing all these noises, hearing footsteps in the attic, banging on the walls. You know, I've even seen my mother's guardian angel, okay, which is a female. Okay. Uh, oh, of course, and there was the incident where me, my mother, and one of my siblings was standing out, you know, in the hallway, directly in front of the front door. Okay. Now there was enough light from the hallway to shine down onto the wall near the front door. All of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone walking up the steps and into that light. And I looked, and I could see right through whatever the heck this was. It was a shadow person. Okay, it wasn't the Hat Man. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys heard about the Hat Man, but it wasn't him. It was just a shadow person. I could see the form of a person. I could see the head, the shoulders, the legs as it was walking up the steps. As soon as I looked, I jumped. Whoa, like that. And I said that real loud too. And whatever it was, it disappeared. Okay. Now another experience I had. This is one I never even mentioned. So this is a brand new add to the all my videos. I was doing some EVP experiments with my iPhone. I had an iPhone 4 at the time, right? And they actually have an app where you can record ghostly voices. And I was just testing out to see if it actually worked, because it wasn't a digital recorder, you know. It was just my iPhone. And I figured, okay, if you can record your voice, you can just be recording whatever, you know. But I was asking questions, you know, the questions that people like the guys from Ghost Hunters be asking, you know, like one of the questions I asked was like,